This podcast is sponsored by Jabra Enhance.
How are your hearing aids sounding now?
A little tinny.
Okay, 2 seconds.
With Jabra Enhance Select's premium package, better hearing doesn't happen in a doctor's office. It happens at home, all done remotely from initial testing to adjustments.
How are they sounding now?
Fantastic.
You get the same advanced hearing aid technology and professional support you expect from a clinic at a fraction of the cost. And if you have any issues, we'll make adjustments 7 days a week, no charge.
Oh, you people are wonderful.
Our premium package includes hearing aids, 3 years of follow-up care, plus a 3-year warranty with loss and damage coverage, and a 100-day money-back guarantee.
I hear better than I ever thought possible.
And now, for a limited time, save $100 when you order Jabra Enhance Select Hearing Aids with promo code PODCAST. Go to JABRAenhance.com, enter promo code PODCAST to save. JabraEnhance.com, code PODCAST.
For eligible individuals 18 and older in 50 United States and Washington, D.C. with mild to moderate hearing loss only. Audiology team may not be able to program hearing aids for some types of hearing loss. See website for details and important safety information.
Recently, our client John met his banker to discuss plans for a clean energy building. What he found was a shared passion for building something more. Momentum for change. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/John.
Welcome to Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond, a safe place where both women and men can come and listen to real people talk about their breast cancer experience and the effects that follow well into survivorship. Hosted by Carrie Madrid, a Stage 3 breast cancer survivor and founder of the CARE Project. It's time to Handle with Care.
And here we are back with another episode of Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. My name is Chris Donovan, the co-host here with Carrie Madrid. And this week we have a really amazing woman on the show. Her name is Kathy Azevedo. Now, Carrie met her because she is a co-founder of the Support Sisters group, which is located in Norco, Corona, and helps breast cancer patients over there. It's Support Sisters with a Z, which is a story on its own, which we'll get to in the show. But Kathy is amazing. She used to jazzercise instructor in jazzercising back in the day. She was on the city council and mayor in Norco and Corona in the Eastvale area back in the day, and she did all of this while she was a metastatic breast cancer patient. She's pretty incredible. And please forgive me, Kathy's very soft-spoken, so she does come in and out a little bit on her microphone, but you'll be able to hear everything she says. Enjoy the conversation that Carrie and I had with Kathy, and for more information, please go to thecareprojectinc.org and enjoy the show.
Chris.
How you doing? Hey, Carrie.
So Chris Donovan, my lovely producer, is joining me today to co-host a very special episode of Handle with Care. I have an incredible guest today by the name of Kathy Azevedo. Kathy is the main founder, right, Kathy? Yes, of Support Sisters. Support Sisters is another 501c3 like my own, the CARE Project, located in Norco and serving women with breast cancer as well as gynecological cancers in the Norco, Corona, and Eastvale areas mostly, sometimes extending out a little bit. So we work together with Support Sisters to support women and men with breast cancer in our area. Kathy has an incredible story because she is a metastatic badass. And so I want to just hear her story from the horse's mouth. So welcome, Kathy, and thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
You are something else. I want to let you know that earlier today, your friend, Annalisa, sent me a video of your talk that you gave last year. I think it was the Support Sisters Luncheon, where you shared your story. And I listened to other people's stories with the intention of seeing how we're alike and how we're different and how to gain inspiration from someone else's story. And that's kind of what this podcast is about. It's to give inspiration, education, and just, I don't know, Chris, how do you say it?
I'd say just open up the floor for the conversation. Don't be afraid to talk about it. And,
right.
It honestly helps me every time I talk about something that's hurting me or bothering me or anything like that.
Right. So we realize that a lot of people who are newly diagnosed might hear this podcast or newly diagnosed metastatic. So that's my hope in having you here, is for you to just share a little of your story, whatever you want, and to give them some inspiration. Some of the takeaways that first let me back up. You were the jazzercise queen, correct?
I taught jazzercise for 33 years.
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
That is awesome. How did you get into that?
I just started taking classes, and my instructor encouraged me to audition.
Wow, jazzercise. Listen, some people are not going to even know what jazzercise is.
Mousercise. Remember that? Remember when Mickey Mouse and Disney had their own version of it, like early morning on Disney Channel?
You're a dad when you know what
totally.
mousercise is.
Well, I was a kid when it was out, so.
Oh yeah, I'm older than you. Whatever. So you were jazzercise queen, and when I was listening to your story that you told, somewhere in there you said, I had this idea, like, I'm just going to run for city council. So can you talk a little about that? Like, how did that come up?
That is still I don't know how that ended up. I really don't know how that ended up, except that some of the people that were in my class were council members of themselves and were really involved. The firemen were in my class. Mm-hmm. And they were really into politics, wanted to get me involved.
Yeah, and this is in Norco, California.
Norco.
Little tiny town.
Horse Heaven of Southern California or something
Heaven,
along those, right?
Horsetown.
Horsetown. Same thing.
I used to live in Corona for a while.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Beautiful.
You just said, that's it. I want to get involved.
So I decided to get involved. Yeah, I did. And it was a big decision, and it was the last day that I could apply, and I applied the very last day that I could apply to be a councilwoman.
So it wasn't like you had a leg up on getting your name out there, those that didn't know you or campaigning and such.
No.
And you made your own sign, I heard.
I made my own signs.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And you won. Clearly you won.
I won.
Who did you run against?
I was the top vote getter.
Awesome. Nice. I love it.
And I ran against, I ran 3 times.
Okay.
I was a councilwoman times.
Wow.
So 12 years, because each term is 4 years.
Okay.
So
I love that. And anyone who knows me really well knows that in the last year or so, I've become obsessed with watching my city council here in Riverside. No reason. I think other than like my kids are all finally grown. I became a mom really early. And so I didn't really get involved or learn about local politics and, policymakers and things like that. And so I have a friend, Delita, who's on our board, and she's very involved. And I'd hear her complaining about some decision made on city council. And I'd say, well, what are you talking about? Then I started watching it all, because everything's Facebook Live now.
Yeah.
So now I am obsessed with city council. Like I've even been there, and I spoke on behalf of somebody one time. I didn't know what I was doing. You know me, I'm not very formal. So I was like, they're all very formal. And I'm like, I can't. I'm like, hey, everyone, how you doing?
Yeah, right.
But I love that because I always tell people when they say, why do you watch city council? I'm like, you know what? It's everyday people that can get involved and make a difference. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about your story there. So then you ended up mayor eventually.
Yeah.
How did that end up? I mean, how did that happen?
Well, how that works is you have 3 seats and 2 seats that become available. So when it was my turn to run for mayor, I just ran. and I just won.
I love that. That's like me. I always
Sounds
say,
so easy.
Who started a nonprofit? Me. I always say, my friends will say, in fact, I said to Chris before you got here today, I said, I had this big, bright idea. He's like, oh, Lord. Because
usually means work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have these visions, and I'm like, you know what? I see this problem, or I see this need, or I see this void. Like, I need to do something. It's like when I started the CARE project I don't know how many years it's been now, 6 years ago, right, Diana? So I just saw a need. I realized as a patient myself and seeing what was out there to help others, that there were fantastic support groups out there. There were fantastic educational things you could go to, but there wasn't a lot of organizations in Riverside that were helping patients pay their bills. And so I just thought, I got to do something, And so I love that. Mm-hmm. You just said, you know what, I can make a difference, and I'm going to do this. So I'm not even a Norco resident, but thank you for all your service to the county area.
We, I live in Norco, but we service all of Corona, and we have merged out farther to help women.
Yeah, we work very well together, Support Sisters in the Care Project. And right before you got here, I got a text from Adriana saying, I've got a patient that contacted us from this area. Can you help? Sure, send her to the office. So that's what we do. If we have a patient that lives or works in the service area that Support Sisters works with, we will send them there generally, and then we coordinate really well. So shout out to Support Sisters for working with the Care Project, because we really are on the same mission.
Adriana is amazing.
Yeah.
And so is Annalisa.
Yeah, Annalisa's here in the studio, too. We're going to talk to her a little bit later. Yeah, so let's go back to your breast cancer diagnosis. When was the first time you were diagnosed?
The first time I was diagnosed, I've been diagnosed 3 times.
Okay.
And the first time I was diagnosed, I had just become a councilwoman, and I was going to a routine mammogram, just to be checked. And I was talking on the phone to a fireman with one of his issues, and was thinking that this was just a routine
annual exam.
Dealing with my new city job, and thinking the last thing is breast cancer.
Right.
Well, that's not how it played out in the cards.
Right.
Ended up that I did have breast cancer.
What type of breast cancer were you diagnosed with?
At that time, I was diagnosed with...
was it DCIS? The first time? Yeah, ductal carcinoma in situ. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you had a lumpectomy or a mastectomy?
I had the doctor told me that they thought that I would have the same chances of reoccurrence if I had a lumpectomy or a mastectomy.
Okay.
So I thought, well, I've got a city to run here.
Yeah, I've got shit to do, people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So go less aggressive, more conservative with lumpectomy. Right,
So I
which
went with the
would make sense.
lumpectomy, and they said that my chances of reoccurrence were the same.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't I?
Right.
So I did.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept ticking.
Did you have chemotherapy and radiation or anything else, or just surgery?
I had, at that time, I've had it all since.
Right.
But at that time, I had, what did I have? I've had so much.
I know. It's probably a blur, I imagine.
It says a lumpectomy and 8 weeks of radiation.
Oh, well, then you.
Chris has done his research.
You said you chose the first choice instead of the double mastectomy.
Yeah. So you were ticking along after that, and then how?
Back to teaching jazzercise.
Were you? Yeah, in your little leotard and tights.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any of that on video?
Yeah, I've got lots of video of me jazzercising.
Annalise will get us some of that
Yeah.
footage.
We'll put it out there on a promo. It'd be fun. It'd be
Yeah. So you did. So you went back to teaching. You're running the city. You're doing your thing, and then it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
How long after the initial diagnosis?
7 years.
cool. Ooh,
Lucky number 7.
Yeah.
really? That didn't sound too lucky to me.
Hey, it's all about perspective.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
7 years. That's a good run. I mean.
And then I ran into it, and then 7 years again.
Really.
It's not my lucky number.
Well, hell.
At least it's consistent, I guess. If
I
you're
guess.
looking at the bright side, like you
You're
said.
trying to find some. So 7 years later, how did you realize that it had come back?
I felt lymph nodes.
Okay, swollen lymph nodes. So your second diagnosis was what?
Same.
Okay. Other side? Same side?
Same side.
Ugh. So now you're like, those odds of reoccurrence. I mean, but that speaks to you. We say this all the time on the show. You just never know. You can go as aggressive or as conservative with whatever treatment plan doctors offer you, and you just never know.
Or nothing sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just never know. You can do all the right things supposedly and it still come back, you know. In your talk that I listened to this morning, you mentioned the phrase "the chosen ones." Can you talk about that a little?
I just feel like, we, one of the girls that's in our group, her name is Lynn Johnson. I love to use her analogy. She talks about the game at pizza parlors.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how they take the claw?
Oh, yes.
And
That
it
thing that
comes-
no one ever wins. No one ever wins that stuffed animal in the claw.
Yeah, and then it grabs it and pulls it out.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I feel. I'm the chosen one, more than any of us that have cancer.
Yeah.
All of the sisters are the chosen ones. I mean, we were chosen.
Yeah. That resonated with me because if you've ever listened to me talk about my story and my diagnosis, I always say that the first time I was diagnosed, the only time so far, thank God, when I was receiving the news, I had my best friend with me, and I was very calm. And she said to me, "How can you be so blankety blank blank calm?" And I said, I just feel like it's a responsibility that's been given to me. I was the booster president at North High School at the time for the girls basketball program. So I had 32 basketball daughters watching me, and my own kids and a host of friends and, basketball family. And I just really felt like, okay, I'm just the chosen one for this. This is a responsibility given to me. I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't go into treatment thinking, I'm going to go start a nonprofit and help other people. I was just trying to live. But I really do believe that. Like we always say, no one is exempt, men included. It doesn't matter if you've got genetics or not. Most breast cancer is not genetic. It's like over 80%. I think it's 83% now. So I love that, the chosen ones. So the second time you had a different type of cancer, how did you handle that news? It's like a punch in the gut, no?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had my turn.
Right.
I thought that I had my diagnosis, I had my surgery, I had my turn.
You did your job, you did your time, right? And then it's back.
And then being a jazzercise instructor, I was able to spread the word.
Yeah.
They put me in newspaper articles, and they used my face.
Because you could reach a lot of people to raise awareness and, hey, get your annual screenings and prevention.
Jazzercise was big at the time, and they had a big center in Riverside, but I was the only chosen one.
Yeah, you were the star of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it then when you had chemo?
So I had chemo the second time.
Okay. How did that go for you?
Not so great.
Yeah. Some people really have interviewed so many people, right?
Different reactions every time.
Yeah. Some people our friend Gina has had an allergic reaction to every single treatment. Mm-hmm. Other people were eating chocolate cake, like my Auntie Helen brags about, I was eating chocolate cake. You'll be fine, she tells me. Meanwhile, I was downing Compazine and Norco, or not Norco, the one that keeps you from vomiting. This chemo brain.
Mm-hmm.
You all know what I'm talking about. I'm sitting in a room full of survivors. They all know what I'm talking about. Zofran, there it is. Zofran and Compazine were my friend. So you handled it not so well, but you got through it.
I got through it.
Now, were you city council still then? Or
yes.
You were. So city council saw you through 2 diagnoses.
Yes.
Wow. Talk about living it publicly.
Yeah. They all knew and they supported you and did everything they could to.
The town of Norco is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. They brought me food, they brought me gifts, they brought me, you name it, anything they could think that could help my diagnosis and get better. Anything they could think of, they would do.
That's that small town.
That's awesome.
Small town love, and just being a public person. There's you kind of didn't have a choice but to live it publicly because of your service to your city. But there's something to be said, and not everybody needs to live it publicly. You got to do what works for you. But there's something to be said about living it publicly because you never know whose life you're going to inspire or educate. I loved in your talk, one of the things that you did is you didn't just share your story, but you also shared how you switched doctors. How you had to advocate for yourself, talk a little about that.
So I went to my doctor and found out, and he recommended me to go to another doctor. And I went to that doctor, and he wanted to do a whole, it's called a back flap.
Oh, the lat flap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So did you have then mastectomy after your second diagnosis? Like a double mastectomy? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they needed to do the lat flap. Okay. So for anyone that doesn't know what that means, you can Google it. But what that is they take the latimus, I think it's called latimus dorsal. It's that space on the, think on the side of your boob and going towards your back. There's a muscle there and there's tissue there, and they will take that and bring it around front to help support an implant. And often just a breast mound, if you will. So I had deep flap where they took my stomach. So I hear that lat flap is pretty painful.
It wasn't fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Especially for a rodeo girl.
yeah, well, that was the problem. He wanted to do both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I can't be taking both sides. I am a rodeo girl, I ride gymkhana, I ride, and I can't have that strength taken out of my back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was real persistent, and he really wanted me to. And the day before I was supposed to go for my surgery, and I went to see him for my final, I walked out.
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And he said, well, this is what I think is best. And I go, well, I don't.
Yeah. And it's my body.
And it's my body.
Yeah. We talk about that a lot on the show, too,
Mm-hmm.
advocating for yourself and really being at peace with it, whatever decisions you make, right? Because we know that plastic surgeons in particular, they're very much perfectionists. Mm-hmm. For them, it's all about the aesthetic, right? It's about, and they think they're making us feel whole, but we're all different.
Mm-hmm.
We're all different. Some of us don't feel the need to have reconstruction. Some do. Some want implants, some don't. And so it's so important that you spoke up for yourself. I can't even imagine. He probably sat there like, what?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, like hearing a lot of the conversations we've had in this room is a lot of ladies or even men at that point didn't know they could stand up in a sense. They were just like, okay, my doctor's told me I got to do this.
Right.
I'm going to do this. And it usually takes either somebody telling them or giving them some suggestions or going through it a second time of you going, no, like I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah, Lavetta
Yeah,
said that.
yeah.
Like with my friend Lavetta is metastatic, and the first time she was diagnosed, she did everything the doctor suggested and told her, and she thought, okay, I'm going to fall in line and they're the experts. Second time she came back, and we share the same oncologist, and she told our oncologist, yeah, I'm not doing that. I did it your way the first time. We're doing it my way now, and it's the same premise.
Yeah.
It's not about surgery, but it was about chemo and things like that. So kudos to you for standing up. You found another doctor.
So I found another doctor.
Okay.
And actually, it was the doctor that did my first surgery.
Oh, okay. So you came full circle, so to speak.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you are comfortable with that doc. You get through that, and you say it came back again 7 years later.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle that?
One thing that I don't mean to be Debbie Downer,
Mm-hmm.
but people need to realize that it can come back.
Absolutely.
And it came back.
Mm-hmm.
It came back twice.
Right. So one of the things we always say on this show is we keep it real here. I have shared my near-death experiences with reconstruction, not as a way to scare anybody or to say, be super afraid, but just to keep it real. We've shared the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And I think, like you said, it's really important that people realize it can come back,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I'm squirreling right now, so go with me. For 8 years after 8 years, I'm approaching 9 years from date of diagnosis. And for 8 years, I kept my hair like inches short. And I just thought, well, I'm rocking short hair because all my life it was always like, don't cut your hair, don't cut your hair. I had this big, thick hair, long hair. And I just thought, initially, I'm having fun with it. I'm doing all the things I never did before because I was too afraid. I thought my femininity was tied into having long hair and so on and so forth. I recently started growing it out a few months back, and I realized in doing some deep dive self-reflection, if you will, that I think I was afraid to let it grow because it's always in the back of my mind that it could come back and I'm going to lose it again, because I was stage 3 with lymph node involvement and high risk for reoccurrence. I'm not on medication. I couldn't tolerate it. And that was a choice that I made.
Yeah.
And I bucked up to my doctor and said, I'm not taking that. I tried all 4, tamoxifen, this, that, the other. So I think it is important that you share that. That's not about being a Debbie Downer. That's about keeping it real.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Yeah.
What's your advice for someone who gets that second or third or fourth diagnosis? What's the best advice you could give them, or your first thoughts?
Is to take charge. Is the first time you're just kind of meek and you're just worried and you just do whatever the doctor says. And after that, I learned that you don't have to do what the doctor says, and you don't. I mean, you take it all in and what the doctor says, but you're not under his control.
Right. We always say, it's really important to obviously, this is what they do, right? Listen to all that they have to say, but then sit with it for a bit. You don't have to make decision that day. The day I got my diagnosis, my surgeon and I sat down and negotiated about when I was going to have my mastectomy, because I was like you. I was like, I got shit to do.
Yeah.
Like
Kids.
our basketball program was making history that year because our girls team was going to the state championship. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm working snack bar and we got a game. And they were like, yeah, that's not going to work. And I was like, no, that's going to work because we're doing what I say. Like, I'm going to have it done. But I managed to negotiate, okay, 13 days later, I'll have the surgery, but I have things to do. And that's probably the only time I really stood firm and said, okay, I'm going to make this decision. Everything else I did according to what my doctor said. For me, it's worked out pretty well, other than that little brush with death from Reconstruction.
That little brush
with the near-death experience. But I think if my cancer ever comes back, I know I will deal with things so differently based on the advice from people like you, from people like Lavetta, from Heather, because I just know that we are in control of our bodies to a degree, I should say, what happens to our bodies in terms of treatment, right? Mm-hmm. And there's other things you're not in control of. So what do you think is the greatest lesson, if you will, or lessons, things that you've taken away from having to deal with this cancer world so intimately for so long?
It's been, for me, it's part of life.
Mm-hmm.
I've had it, for all these years now, and it's part of my life. And so what can I do as part of my life to make it better for other people? And that's what I do.
Right. I think that, let's talk a little bit about support sisters, because how did that come about?
My good friend, her name was Cindy, was diagnosed, and she was very shy about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran into her at Saddle Sore. I don't know if you're familiar.
No.
It's a little honky-tonk bar in Marco.
Is it still there?
It's still there.
You should visit that, Chris.
Is it off second or third?
It's off sixth.
Sixth. Okay. All right.
Sorry, squirrel.
No, I know where it's at, actually.
Okay.
I think I've driven by it 100 times.
Nice. So you met her there?
I've known her from that because her and I ride together. But she was real private about her diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
But she took me to the bathroom and showed me that she had just had it to me.
Oh, okay. Was that after? Was she diagnosed after you?
She was diagnosed after me.
Okay, so she knew she could come to you and got it.
She wanted no part of the support sisters.
Yeah.
she just thought that she wanted to keep it to herself, and we had just a few of us. We had me and Adriana and Lynn, just a few of us. We hadn't grown like we have now.
So you were friends that came together, and a lot of you, if not all of you, were survivors. So you naturally and organically started supporting one another and then raising money.
We started going to lunch like once a month, and found really what we were more than raising money was support.
Yeah.
Supporting each other, like telling Cindy, it's okay, or somebody to say, well, this hurts or that hurts.
And it's people that have been there, done that, so they get it.
They get it.
That's part of our social club. Our social club is our support group at the Care Project, which is very much like your sister sit down when you meet, however often you meet, just to sit down and to be able to have that conversation, or to bitch and complain, or to cry, or whatever, right? Because like we always say, you could have fantastic friends that have never experienced breast cancer, and they try to be there for you, right? But it's different when you sit down, survivor to survivor.
Our support sisters is another, it's just another conduit to the support sisters, where we meet once a month.
Right.
And people just go around the room and just talk about what's bothering them, or, how they feel, how they're feeling.
Yeah.
How they're doing. How are you doing?
And you know that the person that's asking really cares.
And understands, let's be honest. If you have to repeat yourself over and over again about your diagnosis and your treatment and how you feel and your surgeries and all this other stuff, it gets tiring. And so these groups are, if somebody asks you the question, they're like, you don't have to explain it. Like, no, I just got on this medicine and then I had this surgery. And
you could just say tamoxifen to a group of survivors, and you'll see a range of emotions from people going, ugh.
And I'll say Gesundheit.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so, it just, there's power in being with others that have been down your road, even when you're from totally different backgrounds.
Comfort. There's a lot of comfort there too.
There is comfort in that.
I was on tamoxifen for 6 or 7 years.
I took it for two and a half, and then I had to get off of it. It made me crazy.
Yeah.
It really took my hormones or emotions. I was like a psycho. I told my oncologist one time, I love you dearly, but I could kill you right now with my bare hands and not feel bad about it. And she kind of laughed, because we have that sick sense of humor with one another. And I said, no, Dr. Ruby, I'm serious right now. Like, this is bad, because I had teenage girls at home. I was like, I'm going to hurt somebody and go to jail. This stuff's making me nuts. And yet I know other people that don't have that tolerate it just fine. So you must have done okay with it for some time. That's good.
I did.
Yeah. But yet it still came back, which is why we always say to everybody, at least I do personally, is, if there's a medication that they say can help you, definitely try to take it. Try to tolerate it. But just know that there's no guarantee either way, right? You have to do whatever you are at peace with. Yeah. How are you feeling now?
I feel pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You look good.
I have stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, but I also have rare brain disorder.
Okay.
It's called, I never say it right, leptomeningeal.
Okay.
And it is, I have a hole.
Okay.
You see it?
Mm-mm. Not from here.
It's hard to see, but yeah, the hair.
So how did that come about? Is that?
So the doctor, so now I've left the doctor that did that was going to do the back.
The reconstruction?
And I'm going to City of Hope, which is where I'm going now.
Yeah, we hear beautiful things about City of Hope.
And so City of Hope is who's taking care of me now.
Yeah. And I know that you rave about them.
Yes.
Yeah. They give you quick results. They take such good care of you, right? I've heard so much good about City of Hope.
So this hole, though Dr. Yuan put this hole in, and it was going to drain. The idea was for it to drain my fluids.
Okay.
My cancer fluids.
Okay. So the cancer went to the brain?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So where is it at now? It's brain? Is it in your bones or anything?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Okay. And how long has it been everywhere? Quite some time, right? Because that talk that I listened to.
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. Wow.
Because they told me that I would only live a year. And so I've already lived 2.
Yeah, because you're a badass.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have the chills right now.
Yes.
I'm so inspired. I'm so inspired. I talk a lot, and I'm freaking speechless right now.
I would say go to the website, Support Sisters, but it does end with a Z. So we got to be clear about that. SupportSistersWithAZ.org.
I heard a funny story in your talk about how Support Sisters with a Z ended with that Z. Can you talk about that? What made you put a Z on the end?
I just made a mistake.
Just a typo.
That's the
and you said, screw it, we're going with it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
I go, we need to make it something different anyway.
Totally.
Let's just go with this Z.
No, I love it.
It worked.
It works.
It works.
It works.
It really took off.
What's our website, Chris?
SupportSisters.org with a Z at the end of sisters.
Right. So I know that Support Sisters meets every 4th Tuesday of the month, usually, right? For the Support Sisters sit down at 6:30, and that's Pacific time. Can anybody join that now that you're virtual right now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try to make it. You know, I've been saying that since I learned about Support Sisters probably 2 years ago that I'm going to try to go, but they always corresponded with our board meetings for the CARE project. Or also I can't drive at night, so I wasn't able to go in person. So I'm happy it's now online because I think we can rearrange our board meetings. I would love to sit in and meet some more of the Support Sisters. Support Sisters, you guys help pay bills for patients in addition to the emotional support, which is crucial. Another crucial thing that we both do with our organizations is help patients with groceries, with gas cards, so they can get back and forth to treatment, with utility bills, rental assistance, and things like that. You raise your money various ways. I know you guys have a ton of support, but your main fundraiser is the Combat Walk.
Right.
Talk about that. Did you start that?
It started with a... Yeah.
This is a lady that organized rodeos, that ran city council, that was the mayor, and then she decided, I'm going to start a walk too. So the Combat Walk is once a year. You guys raise a ton of money.
Yeah.
We started off not.
Yeah.
You know,
but that's awesome. Now, there isn't an office, right? There isn't a headquarters. You guys just work from your homes, and that allows you to help people more than if you have to pay for an office and things like that.
Right.
So do you guys ever have plans for maybe obtaining an office? No? You're just going to keep it like it is?
We haven't talked about it. It could be in our future.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is we're just not big enough yet to have, like you have.
This is by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
We don't you guys raise a lot more money than we do. We just, for me here in the city of Riverside, well, for us, but at the CARE Project, we service all of the Inland Empire. So what we found is we needed a place for people to come to be able to have that sit down privately and, not be out in the public somewhere. For a time, though, we worked out of my bedroom, just in terms of taking phone calls from my cell phone and didn't have a website. And but we also wanted to include like the fitness room that we have here and the meditation room and incorporate some classes. So let me just say this because I'm going off on a tangent. Squirrel. You guys are always welcome to come here. If you ever need a spot that you just want to meet privately and whatever, we're great hostesses, aren't we, DJ? DJ's over there in the background. What do you got?
Well, that's nice to know because
absolutely.
We do run into that. We have outgrown one room after another. We were at the YMCA and we outgrew it, and now we're at the high school.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you guys know so many people.
Yeah.
You've got incredible support, I imagine, right?
We do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, if you ever want to slum it over here in Riverside, I'm just kidding. No, really, I would love to. We've been saying, Annalisa and Adriana and I have been talking for over a year about getting our groups together.
Yeah.
Because the more support we can get from one another, the better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
From all, at the Care Project, we serve a very diverse group here because Riverside is so diverse. So we've got friendships that are now what we call families, and they're people that we would never run into in our regular circle. I'm not going to run into Cowgirls normally because I'm here in downtown Riverside. I'm not in Norco where you all might meet, and I know that even my dog groomer knows who you are. She comes from Norco. But, it's been a beautiful thing to watch friendships forged from different ethnicities, different age ranges, different religions and politics. All that crap is out the window when you sit down survivor to survivor. So I can't wait for us to all be able to get together.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Following this COVID crap. How's COVID affected? I mean, obviously you guys are virtual now. But do you fear that?
I don't fear it like I should, I guess.
Really? Yeah, you're out here in my studio.
Well, you are a badass, so I don't think
you are
I think
badass.
it's afraid of you, actually.
It probably is. It probably is. Yeah. Has anyone near you been diagnosed with or had COVID?
My husband had it for 1 day.
Whoa.
Wow.
1 day.
He's a toughie too, huh?
She must have rubbed off on him.
She did. She gave him some of her superpowers.
Right.
That's awesome. I can't thank you enough for being here. I could talk to you all day, but we should probably go.
Yeah, we want to get your daughter on next time, too.
Oh, yeah, your daughter.
Stacy would be great.
Yeah, I'd love to have her on here, too, because she was diagnosed around the same time she was diagnosed the second time.
Oh.
So that would be a really good conversation to have.
And she's a sister now, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does one have to do to become a member of Support Sisters?
You have to be a breast cancer survivor.
So you mean I could be a member?
Yes.
I'm an honorary.
Spell it with a Z.
Can I be an honorary member? Well, yeah, let's get Stacy in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you arrange that, Annalisa? So we've got Annalisa in the studio also. Can you step to the mic? Because I'd like to ask you a couple questions. Just about your experience with Support Sisters. She's waving at me like, no, come over here where Chris is. So Annalisa is a member and a board member, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So how did you learn were you all friends before?
Well, no, it's a funny story. I was diagnosed in August of 2014, and Lynn Johnson, which is a founding board member also, our sons played baseball together.
Okay.
When they were young and in high school and stuff. So when my daughter put on Facebook to pray for my mom, and we were all in pink, and because I was having surgery that day, she personal messaged me on Facebook because we weren't friends on Facebook.
Okay.
And asked me, I don't mean to intrude, but, and then she told me about her story. So she actually helped me get through the mentoring. And then before Support Sisters was Support Sisters, and they just used to meet for lunch, she invited me to go have lunch with them.
Okay.
So I actually did get to meet Cindy only once. And then Cindy, unfortunately she passed. And, but then they, all of a sudden, Support Sisters came to be. And
you're like, I'm in on this.
Well, no, not yet. You have to be asked to be on this. I mean, so their very first walk was in Corona, and they asked me to volunteer. I did. I volunteered. I had a little booth there helping out. And right after the first walk, they asked me to be one of the board members, which I was, very honored by that. And I've been part of the board ever since.
That's awesome.
So it's.
What do you think is the greatest piece, if you will, of the Support Sisters? Like, if you could only say one thing about them, what is the greatest thing they've given you personally as a survivor?
I think it's being able to help people. The emotion that we get to be able to help somebody that cannot afford a bed to sit in after their, or a lounge chair after they have their surgery. And for one of us to find this out and get that to them between all of us, okay, getting a truck and picking it up and buying it and setting it up for them before they even get home, to see their surprised face.
Yeah.
We're not there when they get home, but then all of a sudden they're calling us. I think just being there to be able to help people. I said the same thing, the chosen one, I never said why me when I was diagnosed, but I just know that, and it was very hard at the beginning to be able to help people and hear their stories when you're first diagnosed,
right.
because it hits you right at home, and
right.
and it's very hard.
But it's rewarding. I
yes.
think that, and Annalisa is one of us that really takes reward. She loves getting the rewards from.
Yeah,
I love the friendships that I've made.
Well, and people say that to Diana and myself about running the Care Project is like, I have people close to me that say, "You're so exhausted, you work so hard, and don't you want to stop yet?" And there's days I want to quit, yeah, but it's the reward, it's the giving back, and I always say on the show, it's therapy for me, and it's helped me to get through. Even just that scanxiety, like I had a CT scan at my annual, CT, and waiting for the results to come back. And then, just kind of wanting to unplug at times, and then getting a call or a text from Adriana saying, "We've got a new patient. Can we work together and help this one?" And then you just get out of your own shit and you just help.
Right.
And there's something that's so therapeutic about that.
It's so rewarding in so many different ways. It really is. And to be able to help somebody, it's through their journey.
It's priceless, really.
It is priceless. And you tell them your journey is going to be something different probably from my journey, but I'm here to help you.
But I'm here.
I've made so many little sisters and so many sisters, and, the friendships and just being able to help people is really such a rewarding thing.
Right.
And we couldn't do it without the community. We couldn't do it without people like you to be spreading the word, support sisters spreading the word. And
absolutely. Hey, we're in this together.
Yes, we are.
You guys know that.
We're very grateful.
The Care Project and Support Sisters are on the same mission. We're helping the same type people with the same type of diagnosis, and we're all in this together. So personally, I appreciate you all for really coming on board and not looking at us as competition, but looking at us as your ally.
Thank you,
because
for
we
having
are.
Us. We are all in this together.
Yeah.
We're here for the same reason.
Right. Right.
We're here for the same mission.
Right. Well, thank you so much for bringing Kathy in. And Kathy, thank you for being here and sharing some of your story.
Yeah, it was really my honor to be here.
Yeah, well, you're welcome anytime.
She is a true Norcornian, She went to high school there.
Yeah. She's been there like 50 years. Yeah.
She met her husband in high school.
Yeah.
Her high school sweetheart.
Yeah. Not long ago, I went on a trip, like a wine tasting trip, I don't know, a few months back, and we all met to get on the charter bus in Norco. And I was like, this is the cutest little town. It's so cute.
It is. When I was young, my dad used to take us over there, and we used to go horseback riding, and that was like the best trip ever.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to go to Norco?
And who thinks
John Wayne town?
Yeah, and who listens, people listen to this show from all over. So in Southern California, you wouldn't think that there'd be this little horse town.
Right.
Right? People think Southern California, they think Malibu, they think celebrities and shit. They're not thinking, rodeo. And here's this one over here.
Google Norco.
If I have anything on my bucket list, it's going to be the barrel race.
That's hard.
Well, Kathy was a barrel racer.
I know, but maybe we can do it virtually. Someone needs to come up with a virtual ride for barrel racing. That's what I'm thinking, because I have so much scar tissue, and I would be in so much pain if I tried to get on a horse right now. Virtual ride. Someone come up with a virtual ride for barrel racing, and perhaps bull riding. I have a thing about bull riding too.
They have those. They're in bars usually. Where you ride.
Yeah, no, I don't.
No, we have one at home.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
No, wait a minute. It's the one you put in the pool, the swimming pool.
Oh, I can get one of those.
And then everybody, there's 4 people that pull the handles, and the one person on the top, and if you fall in the pool.
Awesome. I
love it.
There you go. I love it. Well, Thank you so much for indulging me. I know we ran a little long, but what an honor. So we'll talk again, yeah?
Well, thank you for having us.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. Please let us know what you think of the show by leaving a rating and review. And don't forget to share it with a friend. For more information or to connect with Carrie, go to thecareprojectinc.org.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Can you have zero interest in something and still really want it? Your wallet would say yes. And with Simply Zero from South Carolina Federal Credit Union, you can transfer credit card balances and get 0% intro APR for 12 months. That's right. No interest all year. So you pay less and keep more. To learn more, visit scfederal.org/simplyzero. That's scfederal.org/simplyzero. Variable APR ranges from 11.74% to 17.99% thereafter. Limited time offer restrictions apply.